if you are a NEET person student, so you must have a eager about what book you are going to read in your first year MBBS. And if you are a first year MBBS student, so you must have worry about that what book you should follow for your better productivity of the study. The solution is here. Hello everyone, I am Bikash Hati, currently doing second year MBBS student at AIIMS Bhopal, and in this video we're going to talk about what book you going to or you should be read in your first year MBBS. In first year of MBBS you have to read 4 books. Yes, it is 4. Initially it was 3, but newly NMC added a new subject to your first year. That is CFM. Means initially the CFM subject is present from the second year to the final year. Now NMC newly added the CFM toward your first year. Means you have to read CFM from first year to the final year. The book that you have to read in your first year MBBS are: first, anatomy; second, physiology; third, biochemistry; and fourth, that is CFM. In anatomy, you will read about the internal structure of the human body, means their structure, their relation, their blood supply, their nerve supply, their lymphatic drainage, and a lot. In physiology, you're gonna read about the function of this internal structure and how they are interconnected to maintain the homeostasis. And in biochemistry, you will read about this function in molecular level, means how the glucose, the fat, and the protein are metabolized to maintain your body. In every year of MBBS, there are 3 kind of book that is present. First is gold standard books, means there is no book above these books, and you will have the greater knowledge after reading this book. And second is exam friendly books, means you have to read this book just before exam to get the better marks in exam. And third is exam passing books, commonly called in medical college as a gutka books, that you can pass the exam very easily after reading these gutka books. Now the anatomy is not a single book, it consists of 3 different type of books. First, the gross anatomy, means in this book you will read about the main internal structure, relation vagara, etc. Second is the embryology book. In this book you will read about the development of human body from a zygote. And the third is histology book, means you will read the human body internal structure in microscopic level. So coming to the gross books, in gross books you have the standard books, that is Gray's Anatomy. The standard book of the anatomy, this is Gray's Anatomy. In this book, the very good concepts are present in this book. So if you read this book, you have a greater concept about the anatomy. But the problem with this book is that you will face problems in your exam, how to read the questions and how to get the better marks, because in this book you do not get the writing in point view, because in this book the writing is in poem pattern. So it is the very book for concept development, but a bad book for exam. I read this book for my development of concepts. Now coming to the exam friendly books that commonly follows in Medical College of India, that is BDC. You have 4 volumes of BDC. The first is upper limb and thorax. The second is lower limbs, abdomen and pelvis. The third is head and neck, and 4 is neuroanatomy. So these books are very exam friendly. So you can read this book and will get the more marks in your exam. Another student friendly books are Vishram Singh's. So the Vishram Singh books is also a student friendly. I will say that more student friendly than BDC Chaurasia. The first volume is upper limb and thorax. The second volume is abdomen and lower limb. The third volume is head and neck and brain. Now, to understand the anatomy betterly, you have to read a tiny book, that is general anatomy. In this book, you gonna read about the anatomical term, what is joint, what is bone, what is muscles, what is nerve, the function of nerve, and etc. etc. General anatomy. This is the general anatomy of Visram Singh, and this is the general anatomy of B.D. Chaurasi. Now you are thinking about that there is a lot of books. So what book I should study? See, you have to follow two books. One, that is exam friendly books that you have to get more marks in exam, and you have to follow a standard book to build your concept. So you can study the Grey's Anatomy for your concept building, and you can study the B.D. Chaurasia or Visram Singh for your exam purposes. But please remember that the Grey's Anatomy is not for everyone. If you want to get more that is given in BDC or Visram Singh, then you can definitely go through the Grey's Anatomy. Now the main book that I forgetting to introduce, that is Atlas of Anatomy. It is not a theory book. It is the book that is given the main diagram of your internal structure that is exactly present in your human body. The main two Atlas book I would prefer. First, that is Theme, and second is Nader Atlas. I will prefer Nader Atlas more than Theme. So I don't have the Nader Atlas, and so I buy this book, and you can see that the human internal structure is given in this book as it is present in human body. So when you are studying anatomy, so keep this book open in your study table. So you will read the anatomical structure and relations from the books, and you will matching this concept from this book. So these books will help you a lot to regain and retain all the things of anatomy. So that is, so now the gross book of anatomy is over. Now coming to the more two books of anatomy, that is first, that is embryology. In embryology, you will read about the development of human from the zygote to the human body. There are many books of the human embryology, but I would prefer mainly two books. First, that is Langman, that is gold standard books for embryology. You can build your concept very muchly from these books, and I would prefer the second is Inderbir Singh, that is exam friendly books. So you can write betterly from this Inderbir Singh. So I would prefer to is this two books, one for concept building and one for exam purposes. Now coming to the third book of the anatomy, that is histology. In this subject, you will read about the internal structure in microscopic level. There are many books present for the histology, but I would prefer two books mainly for the histology. That one is gold standard books, that is D4 Atlas of Histology. So it is an international book, and it is the gold standard for histology. Another books for the histology, that is exam friendly books, are Inderbir Singh Histology. However, my college professor Dr. Brijesh Kumar sir also write a book of histology, so you can go through this book also. So now completing the theory portion of anatomy, now coming to the practical portion of anatomy. In practical portion, you have to dissect the main human anatomical structure in dissection hall, and you will see the structure that you are reading in this book practically in the dissection hall. For doing the dissection, you have to read this dissection books, that is Canninghams mainly. but I will prefer, don't buy this book alone. Don't waste your money. You can buy this book in 3 to 4 person group that you will study in the dissection hall. So completing the anatomy. Now coming to the physiology. Physiology is the simplest subject in first year of MBBS. So most of the students love to read physiology, as I am. It is the gold standard book for physiology, that is Ganong, and we have the another gold standard book for physiology, that is Guyton. So Guyton and it is Ganong. The main difference of this book are Ganong is an review book, meant the more information present here, and Guyton is a concept book, means they are the all things, all facts are written in explained manner, and here more information is present over here. So what should you follow, the Guyton or Ganong? Initially in the 3 month of MBBS I used to follow the Guyton, and after reading the Guyton I feel that I get very less from this book, so I switches myself to the Ganong. And see, if you have a very powerful understanding power, so you can definitely go through this book, and if you enjoy to study, then you can definitely go through the guideline. Now coming to the exam friendly books of the physiology, that is GK Pal, written by Indian author GK Pal. Here all are things written in point, so you can get more marks after reading this book. So you can definitely go through these books just before exam to get more marks in exam. So that is completing the physiology. In physiology you have to read the practical also. Physiology is mainly consist of theory and practical, so these books are for theory, and in practical you have to read the practical manuals, practical books. In my college, that means the AIIMS Bhopal, AIIMS Bhopal provide us their own practical manual, so we don't have to buy any practical manual books. In physiological practical, you will taught about the various tests and how to examine a patient. You will start the examination from the physiology itself, and it will be the very enjoyable process. Now physiology is over. Now coming to the biochemistry. Biochemistry is one of the hardest subject in first year MBBS, because you have to remember a lot in biochemistry. That is the gold standard book for biochemistry, that is Harper Illustrated Biochemistry, that you will definitely get more understanding from these books, and you should definitely go through this book. Now coming to student friendly books of biochemistry, that is Satyanarayan. It is very student friendly, and it is very simple language that one student can easily understand. The problem with the Harper is that it's written in a very tough language, so if you have a very powerful understanding power, so you can definitely go through the Harper. Otherwise you can follow the Satyanarayan, or one book that I have for biochemistry is Vasudevan. I read this book very much less, because I would prefer to read the Harper Biochemistry. That is very, I like this book very much. And second book that I read for the exam is the Satyanarayan for biochemistry. So that is completing the all things of theory of the biochemistry. Now biochemistry also have the practical. In this practical you will taught about the various tests, like the blood glucose, blood cholesterol, blood uric acid, and you will examine also the urine and CSF and etc etc. So biochemistry practical manual is provided by the AIIMS Bhopal, so we don't have to buy this practical manual from the outside. Now you are thinking that is too much book. Is it necessary to buy all this book? I would say no, it is never necessary to buy all this book. Okay, I will make a video about the resources from where you can download these books. You can download this book in your tablet, your iPad. I also have many book in my tablet, so you can read this book from tablet also. So there is no necessary to buy all this book in medical college. Now coming to the another resources that you can have in your first year MBBS, it is the iPad. So in iPad you can definitely download a app that is uh, learning anatomy 3D. In this app you can definitely see the bone, muscle, nerve, artery supply in 3D view. So it will help you lot to understand the anatomy. Now you are thinking that there is a lot of books to study. How you can complete, how you can manage these books in your first year, just in 1 year. So I have just a tips for you, that you don't have to read this book like that you have read the NCRT, that is in 20 times, 27 times, etc., etc. Just study these books 1 or 2 times and make your own notes, as you can easily regain this matters after reading these notes. That's so I make these notes in your first year MBBS. You can see there are too much notes, because these notes will help you in PG also to get the knowledge back in just in one quick go. So at least follow 2 books for the making notes and make your own perfect note to regain all the things in very slight time. It will help you to get more marks not only in exam all but also will help you to get more marks in your PG exams.